All right, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Yes, that's right. It is Pushing the Limits. Welcome, PTL family. Of course, all of you listening on the FMM dial, the Occupied Democrats Network, and of course, we're on X. We are on my personal YouTube page, which is at PTL Radio Show. And we have a lot to talk about today. Some positive news for Democrats. Yes, that's right. It's always good when there's some negative news for the MAGA world. No April Fool's jokes today, by the way, just for the record. Also, you could be on the YouTube Super Chat, and we have a contest going every month that started yesterday where a minimum of a $25 donation, you're going to be entered with a chance to do a segment with me live on the air. So you can make those donations on pushingthelimits.live. You could also make those donations on the YouTube Super Chat. So we have a lot to get to today. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Aaron Rupar. He's from the Public Notice newsletter, great journalist. He's going to be joining us to talk about this big win in Wisconsin for the Supreme Court race and Susan Crawford. And then coming up a little bit after that, we're going to get a local report from a great reporter from CBS 58 News. Adam Rife is going to be joining us out of Milwaukee to talk about this as well. But for those of you that maybe have been living under a rock and you don't know what took place yesterday, it is a big deal. The Wisconsin Supreme Court race was won by Susan Crawford. Yes, that's right. Even though Elon Musk put in about $50 million, give or take, of his own money into this race. This was a mandate. If the Trump MAGA Republicans want to say that it was a mandate that he won, Donald Trump won, well, this is certainly a mandate because Elon Musk has been rejected in Wisconsin. This is the way CNN called it as the information was coming in last night. And it was a surprise to a lot of people, make no mistake about it. This is CNN's coverage of how it all went down last night with Susan Crawford.
Indeed, John, because we now have a major projection to make. CNN projects that the liberal judge from Dane County, Judge Susan Crawford, will win the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, keeping control of the court in the hands of liberal judges and defeating conservative Judge Brad Schimmel, who had the backing of President Trump, Elon Musk, and Republicans. Crawford's win gives her supporters in the Democratic Party a significant victory after they worked to turn this contest into a referendum on both President Trump and Elon Musk, who had deep involvement in this race. Democrats obviously trying to harness voter anger about Musk's role in slashing the federal government and about the Trump administration.
So that was how CNN covered it last night. And I got to be honest with you, I took a little nap yesterday in the afternoon. I woke up and I was pleasantly surprised. And it goes to show you where these MAGA Republicans are at today, because Brad Schimmel, who I think is a moron, and I'm so glad he's not going to be on the Supreme Court. So Brad Schimmel said in his speech yesterday, and I will give him credit for this, that he conceded, that he called Susan Crawford and said congratulations, which is what any responsible person would do. And as he announced that in front of his group of Klan supporters, they started booing. And then he said, again, to his credit, we need to be able to concede and we need to be able to accept. But this is where the MAGA Republican Party is at because of Donald Trump. When one of the people that they want to win loses a free and fair election, they cry cheating, rigged. How long will it be before Donald Trump does that? This is where the MAGA Republican Party is at. And I want to show you an image, because if you don't know who Scott Presler is, he's the moron who goes around the country and just coerces people into voting for Republican. And I mentioned he is the gay Republican because this is the guy who literally lost his job early in his, quote, political career for taking pictures of sex acts in a Republican office building. But you'll never hear MAGA Republicans talk about that. Scott Presler, though, is a complete moron. And this is what Scott Presler said not that long ago. He said Democrats spent $10 million in Florida to lose by 11%. Congratulations, Randy Fine. Well, it's interesting. I don't see Scott Presler tweeting about what took place last night in Wisconsin, because Republicans spent over $53 million to lose a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat by 10%. So congratulations, Justice Susan Crawford. I don't hear Scott Presler talking about that. Geez, I don't hear anything. I hear crickets. I wonder why, you moron. And Crawford, I thought, had a wonderful speech last night in front of her supporters. And this is just some of the things she said last night in regards to this. I would say a little shocking, just because of the wide range that she won by. Have a listen to what she had to say last night about democracy.
So today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy. That's right. Our fair elections and our Supreme Court. And Wisconsins stood up and said loudly that justice does not have a price. Our courts are not for sale.
Yes, that is for sure. Donald Trump would like our courts to be for sale, but they are not. Crawford is a good woman, a family woman, a very good judge, and she's going to do a wonderful job. This is the part where I smiled a little bit, because this is where Crawford talked a little bit and mentioned Elon Musk, maybe not by name, but have a listen to this.
Someone who watches out for people. But I've got to tell you, as a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. For justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
Quite the accomplishment, isn't? It's quite the accomplishment. Congratulations to Susan Crawford. Very happy for her. And I'm glad that there was such a large turnout, too. There was a huge turnout. So if MAGA Republicans want to use the term mandate, this was a mandate on Elon Musk, particularly. Maybe not as much as MAGA as it was Elon Musk. Because, as you know, Elon Musk looked like the idiot that he is, wearing the cheese head in Wisconsin, offering the $1 million and trying to buy votes. And guess what? This time it didn't work. This time it didn't work. And Hakeem Jeffries was on MSNBC yesterday. And here are his thoughts on how decisively Wisconsin rejected Elon Musk. Have a listen to what Hakeem Jeffries had to say about this.
And rejecting the extremism, the outrageous behavior of this administration and their effort to harm everyday Americans.
As you look at the Wisconsin result, this was something I did not expect to be discussing with you during this hour tonight. We expected this to be a closer race. We expected the call to come much later in the evening. We saw Elon Musk personally go out there. We saw him hand $1 million checks to voters, trying to literally buy the election right there in Wisconsin. What does it tell Republican members of the House of Representatives who are counting on Elon Musk to get them reelected?
It's time for them to walk away from this unelected, unpopular, unhinged, and un-American billionaire puppet master. Elon Musk was just rejected decisively by the voters of Wisconsin. He tried to spend his unlimited resources to buy a state Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, and it failed spectacularly. The voters rejected Donald Trump, they rejected Elon Musk, and they rejected the rapidly deteriorating Republican brand. We have to continue as Democrats to make it clear to everyday Americans.
Well, I agree with you, Hakeem Jeffries. I've been a little bit frustrated with you lately, but you were certainly right on this account. Now, you've been hearing from MAGA Republicans over the course of the last several months, since day one, when we learned that Donald Trump was reelected. We've been hearing the term mandate. We've been hearing America has spoken, right? We've been lectured on this day after day. Now, I've always disagreed with that statement. The reason why is because less than 50% of the people that went to the voter booth voted for Donald Trump. It was one of the closest elections we've ever had. If memory serves me right, Trump won by somewhere around 1.4% of the popular vote. That is not what I consider a mandate. But then Scott Jennings, being the imbecile that he is, a complete douchebag on CNN, is asked that very same question. Anderson Cooper asked him, do you think this was a referendum on Elon Musk? Which I think is a very fair question. And I think you could make the case by how wide of a margin Susan Crawford won by that, yes, this is a referendum. Listen to Scott Jennings do what he does best, curl himself into his MAGA Republican coward pretzel, and basically say no. Listen to the response and listen to Anderson Cooper's question and Scott Jennings' BS.
Scott, do you think this in Wisconsin was a referendum on Musk?
Well, I could look at it from another direction. I think the Schimmel campaign was really struggling, both financially and just in terms of traction before Musk got involved. He may have actually, given whatever boost he had late. But it didn't solve for the issue that the Republicans have, which are these low propensity voters, and trying to get them to turn out for things that are not Donald Trump. You heard Elon Musk, I think correctly, try to tie a vote in the Supreme Court race to much larger, macro political issues, but it wasn't enough. And so that is an equation the Republicans have to solve for. I don't think it's going to be an issue in 28, but look, you got a midterm between now and then. It will be an issue in these midterms, and that's something the party strategists are going to have to deal with.
Yeah, do you hear that response? You don't hear him say that it's a mandate. You don't hear him say that America has spoken. You don't hear Scott Jennings saying, boy, America's spoken, and this is what we got. And, no, he says, well, you know what? Brad Schimmel's campaign, they were having some financial problems. Imagine when if they were talking about Kamala Harris and why she lost, and a Democrat said, well, Harris lost because I think they were having some financial issues. Scott Jennings would have tore that person apart. But you see, when you ask MAGA Republicans about last night, you see Elon Musk, and I don't know if we can hear from Elon Musk, but I know that Elon Musk is not very happy this morning. Maybe he's working on his 14th or 15th child that he won't be a father to. I'm not so sure. But Elon Musk is making excuses this morning, and he said, well, after taking this loss, we will position ourselves in a better spot. What the hell does that mean? You guys lost. You spent over $50 million of your own money. I'm sorry. Did Elon just interrupt me? Elon, what you had something to say? Go ahead.
The real they'll enter that alien. There's no like aliens visitor. Like if are you
I'm sorry, I don't understand. But then I don't get it. I don't understand. Thank you, Elon, for responding, but that didn't make any sense to me. Elon, when are we getting those Doge checks? By the way, I was curious. When are we getting those checks? Are they coming in the mail? I don't know.
He thought it was like
same answer. All right. Well, I'm trying. Listen, Elon. I'm trying to get an answer out of Elon. He's not giving it to me. Maybe we'll get back to Elon and we'll see what he has to say. But Elon, I do think this was a mandate. I really do. I think this was more of a referendum on you. What do you have to say about that?
It's the new there's a yoke. It would.
All right. You lost. Okay. So back to business here. This is the way some of these MAGA Republicans are responding to this. So after spending years attacking Biden for inflation, right? Again, years, they still blame Joe Biden for inflation. You still hear it. I want you to listen to how Fox Business News is now making it sound like inflation is perfectly fine amidst Donald Trump's tariffs, which we will be getting to today. Have a listen to how Fox Business News is handling this tariff news and the fact that American consumers are spending more money because of Donald Trump's tariffs that are being implemented, yet they've been attacking Biden for years. Have a listen to this.
Again, everybody's tightening the belt. Everybody's trying to figure out how to save money here and there, and that's just the natural game. And we teach this all the time on the Ramsey Show. Yeah. Listen, it's a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. You only get hurt if you jump off amid the ride. Be smart. If you got to pull back for your vacation this year because times are a little tighter, fine. Save, plan, and you just can't be the sky is falling looking at the headlines every day to decide how I'm going to live life. Again, everybody's tightening
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A roller coaster? Is that what he just said? Don't worry, guys. Listen, if you have a vacation, just take a break and don't go on vacation and save your money. Listen, it's a roller coaster. It goes up and down. Every single day that I've been doing this show, and every single day that I've been on the air since Joe Biden took office, they blame Joe Biden for everything. They blame Joe Biden for inflation and everything else. every single day. But you see, when Donald Trump takes office and gas prices are up, I think they're up 63 cents across the country. Gas prices are up. Inflation is up. The war in Ukraine is still ongoing, sadly. And then the Israel-Palestinian conflict, we know that that has not come to a halt, and ceasefires have been broken there. But it's a roller coaster. So when Donald Trump is president, the excuse is, well, guys, it's a roller coaster. Let's just bear with it and let's get through it. But when a Democrat is in office, it's all Joe Biden's fault. Because these idiots have no credibility. And let me tell you something. Some might say, well, you're making a big deal than this is. No, this is a big deal, what took place in Wisconsin. This is a big deal. Because it's not just the fact that Susan Crawford won. It's the wide margin that she won by, which I think is extremely important. And this is a referendum on Elon Musk. And I think his days are numbered. My personal opinion, no matter how much money he has, the bottom line is Susan Crawford was able to defeat the richest man in the world, which happens to be, yes, that's right, this guy.
Sort of, yeah, it could just that I think within a.
All right. Thank you, Elon. Elon's struggling to speak today. That's okay. Maybe he's in the bunker. You know, it's funny how they made fun of Joe Biden's stutter, right? By the way, Joe Biden never sounded like that.
Like
never.
We're not. And we're already. And
let me tell you something. No matter how much money Elon Musk has, he'll always sound like that. No matter how much money Elon Musk has, the bottom line here is that he'll always be socially awkward. He'll always be a terrible father. He'll always be terrible to women. And he'll always be a horrific human being. I do believe he is an anti-Semite. I do believe he is a racist. And I do believe he doesn't have a good bone in his body. He's just a really bad guy.
And
yeah. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Elon. Thank you. But listen, this is a big win for Democrats. It's a big win for Susan Crawford. And to talk to us about this, because I do think it's a huge story. It's always great having Aaron Rupar joining us. His newsletter, Public Notice, great journalist, and I appreciate Aaron joining us right now on the show. Aaron, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Good to see you as well.
Thanks, Aaron. Good to see you. So let's talk about this big story of this Wisconsin Supreme Court victory for Susan Crawford. When you first heard this and you first saw the results and CNN had called it, what went through your mind?
I obviously do this for a living, and the extent to which people are really jazzed up over this, I'm kind of surprised by. I mean, it is a big deal, but you'd swear that Kamala really, new evidence was released that Kamala won last year or something. It's kind of odd. I think people are just so thirsty for good news, and I get that for sure. And Wisconsin obviously is a pivotal state. The Supreme Court there has a lot of latitude when it comes to elections, when it comes to drawing up congressional districts, even gerrymandering the legislature there, which has been one of the worst gerrymanders in the country, going back to the Scott Walker days. So I don't want to downplay it, but I was actually more excited that the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets last night in a double OT thriller. That got me going a little bit more. But
that was a pretty good game.
Yeah,
I did watch those highlights on Sports Center. That was a good game to watch. Yeah, so I hear what you're saying. And I think that makes sense. I don't think Democrats should get too far ahead of themselves. This is good news, but you guys didn't have, maybe it's a sign of things to come, perhaps, but I don't think you should count your chickens yet. And I totally get that. But do you think this is a referendum, at least in Wisconsin, on Elon Musk? Would you characterize it that way?
I think it is, but I feel like we've seen this movie once before in 2017, where when you get these, with Trump obviously being a very divisive figure, and it's probably more of like a 50-45 type thing where I think he's, less popular than he is the opposite. I think it makes sense that when you get to these specials where you get more engaged voters turning out, or I guess Wisconsin wasn't technically a special, but an off-cycle election. It makes sense that Democrats do better. And we've seen this going back to 2017. I mean, this was one of the big stories heading into the election last November that gave people a lot of confidence, was that really ever since Dobbs, but you could really go back to 2018, even before then, Democrats, when Trump hasn't been on the ballot, even when he was on the ballot in 2020, had been doing quite well. So I don't know if it's any sort of like huge sea change, or was it just kind of the normal dynamics we've seen for years? I mean, it's worth remembering in 2023, there was a Wisconsin Supreme Court election that tipped the balance of the court that a Democrat won. And so, hasn't anything really fundamentally changed in 2 years? That's where, and I haven't dug into the numbers to see if the margin last night was bigger than it was 2 years ago. I think it probably was a little bit bigger. So, you can maybe extrapolate from that. And with these elections in Florida, where Republicans won, but the margins were way lower than they were in November, you can draw conclusions from that too. But, I'm very confident about Democrats heading into the midterms. I think it'll be a good midterm cycle. I'm just kind of a PTSD over, I guess, Trump being on the ballot and just the low propensity voters that he gets to turn out and vote for him. And, sometimes not even vote for the Republicans down ballot, like we saw in Arizona and a couple other states last year where Trump won and the Senate candidates lost.
Yeah. Do you feel like this could be the start of Elon maybe stepping aside, or do you feel like this won't bother him at all and he's still going to be hands-on? Or do you think this could be a step in the direction of him maybe stepping back?
It's worth keeping in mind that Trump really doesn't like losers. He doesn't like surrounding himself with, people who have kind of the stench of losing. And so, I wonder, given that Elon obviously staked a lot of political capital and, literal capital in terms of his own money into this race, the fact that he had came up, as a pretty resounding loser here, if that, maybe erodes some of Elon's standing. And then, of course, there was a report today, which I believe was in Politico, about Trump in a private meeting telling, I don't know if he told, I believe it was maybe the Republicans he had at the White House today, or if it was administration officials, but there was a leak from this meeting where Trump apparently said that Elon is not long for the White House and will soon be stepping back into running his businesses and whatnot. It's hard not to kind of put two and two together there and wonder if there's something going on with the result last night. So, yeah, I mean, there's kind of a couple different ways of looking at it, where you could look at it as Elon being kind of a heat shield for Trump and, absorbing a lot of the unpopularity that might otherwise be blamed on him. Or, is there kind of the notion that he's dragging down Trump and that, he'll be more popular if he gets rid of him? I guess you could argue that either way.
Yeah. You're just joining us, Aaron Rupar, his newsletter, Public Notice, great follow on social media. So, Aaron, let's talk a little bit about tariffs. I am just mesmerized by the day on how somebody like a Carolina Levitt does not understand how tariffs work, or she's just blatantly lying. But so many MAGA Republicans out there are seemingly making it sound like the American consumer isn't paying for this. And then you have people like Donald Trump, who seem to be, again, spreading lies about Canada and these fake allegations of this drug trafficking, which we know is not really happening. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I mean, Trump has been misrepresenting tariffs going back to his first term. And, we certainly understand that Republicans are comfortable lying and misleading people. I think most of them understand, how tariffs work. I mean, Carolyn Levitt, I'm not so sure. I mean, she doesn't strike me as kind of like a leading intellect of the administration. So I don't know what she knows or doesn't know. But I certainly think Trump probably understands on some level. Certainly he's talked to enough business people who have probably tried to talk sense into him. And, it's not necessarily universally popular among Republicans. I mean, Rand Paul has been on TV talking about how much he doesn't like tariffs. And even Ron Johnson was on Fox today kind of expressing mild concern, but then saying, we have to give Trump the benefit of the doubt. So, yeah, I really, I was just looking as I logged on for this chat, and, the market's pretty solid today. So, I still kind of, there's kind of this aspect where I think, even Wall Street people kind of think he's bluffing, or that he's still going to respond to more traditional incentives. There's even reporting that I was reading just before we hopped on here that, Trump still isn't really sure what he's going to announce today. So I am kind of eagerly awaiting this event, about 30 minutes, because I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a complete S show. I don't know if you can swear on your show or not, but crap show.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't think he knows what he's going to announce. And I think it's one of these kind of face-saving things at this point where he's bluffed so many times. He's kind of walked to the brink, and this was a big part of his campaign, and people did, whether they understood it or not, kind of sign up for this. And he wasn't trying to pretend that he was a big free trader or anything. And so, like with a lot of aspects of Trumpism, I think people are going to have to feel a little bit of pain to hopefully learn their lesson and not, put these madmen in positions of power again.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I want to just quickly get your thoughts on Signalgate because it appears as though the story has gone away. At least the White House wants the story to go away. What do you make of the fact that no heads have rolled, for lack of a better term? Nobody's lost their jobs. They're still not, and they probably will never release more information as to what took place, even though I think we all understand what took place. And it was Waltz who put this guy in there accidentally, and he pretty much self-owned that in an interview. So what do you make of the fact that they're saying case closed, we're not talking about it anymore? Do you think the story should go away? And how can reporters like you continue to press the White House when they don't want to give us any information?
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you saw this because you were probably already on the air, but Politico had a story that there's new revelations that Waltz had as many as 20 different signal chats, all pegged to different global crises, including Ukraine. And so the story was very short, but it's in Politico, so I'm assuming it's pretty legit. So I think that'll give a little bit of new legs to the story. And then I've already seen some speculation that obviously this latest story is based on leaks. And so is there someone inside the White House that's trying to take Waltz out? Because he kind of comes across looking like the guy who was kind of spearheading, which we inferred obviously from the Atlantic reporting, but kind of spearheading these efforts to do a lot of very sensitive discussions on Signal. So, that kind of got me wondering if maybe maybe Waltz will be the guy who kind of takes the fall for this. That's a little premature, and we'll see. And I think, Trump is obviously very, very hesitant to show any sort of weakness at this point so early into his administration. I think he kind of, in his own way, took that lesson from the Michael Flynn debacle in his first term, where Flynn was only in the role of national security advisor for like 2 weeks. And I've even heard Trump on the record express regret that he should have kind of stuck with him, or at least not been so reactive to the press reports at that time. So, but I just wonder, if people are leaking from the White House, leaks that are meant to make Waltz look bad, if there's kind of hidden agendas. But broadly speaking, I think you are right. It's just, we live this in the first term where there's like a Trump scandal a day, and people get tired of them quick, and then you're kind of on to the next. But when you stack it up next to the Hillary Clinton emails thing, which we spent half a decade on, if not longer, and the fact that Signalgate is like a 2-day story, I think it speaks to that. When Democrats do something wrong, like the Hillary email thing, the default with the media is that it's some huge breach of trust. But then on the flip side, it's kind of baked in with Trump that people expect him to be kind of a dundering, kind of a malevolent, dundering. And so when he does that, it's not really news. So, I think that's kind of one of the dynamics that helps Trump kind of skate by with stuff like this. So we'll see if the Waltz revelations today kind of give the story new legs. But, you're right that it faded away pretty quick.
Yeah, it really did. And I'll have to check out that story. Well, Aaron, I appreciate your time. Before we let you go, can you give out your newsletter, Public Notice? How do people follow you, and how do people read your newsletter?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find my newsletter, Public Notice, at publicnotice.co. You can follow me on Blue Sky, atrupar.com, and then atrupar on Twitter. And I just signed up actually for TikTok yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. Finally, it's something I've been kind of intending to do and just didn't have time. And I'm actually impressed with how easy the interface is and whatnot. So it seems pretty easy, but I'm there at Aaron.Rupar, I believe. So
just don't call MAGA supporters buffoons, because some of your content will be taken down as some of mine has. So I know you won't do that. You're a much nicer man than me.
Let's talk offline about that. I hadn't heard that. That's interesting.
Yes. I've talked to some very popular left-leaning people on TikTok, and we could definitely have a conversation off the air about that. But Aaron, I love what you do, man. Your newsletter, Public Notice, is awesome. Keep up the great work, and I appreciate your time.
Anytime.
Thanks, Aaron. There you go, everybody. That's Aaron Rupar. He is the best. We love Aaron, and we appreciate him taking the time. As I mentioned here, coming up in just a little bit, we are going to be joined by Adam Rife. He's a great reporter down there in Milwaukee, CBS 58 News. So, again, I talk about this stuff a lot on the show, and I like to hold any politician to account, right? I think that's, as Americans, we all should do that. But the reality of the situation, to me anyway, is very, very simple. The stakes were already very high in Wisconsin. Control, for lack of a better word, of the Supreme Court is in a very critical presidential battleground state, of course, in Wisconsin. This was a big deal. And make no mistake about it, this race took on national significance when Trump endorsed Schimmel. Now, I'm sure it's just a matter of time before he says it was rigged. I'm sure it's a matter of time before he blames George Soros or blames, Democrats cheating or something of that nature. But when you have the richest man in the world back a candidate along with Donald Trump and that candidate gets embarrassed, that is a referendum, in my personal opinion. And, Musk's millions, for lack of a better term, didn't really help here. It didn't help. And the Wisconsin race, quickly became the most expensive judicial contest in U.S. history. That's why I find this to be maybe a little bit more significant than what Aaron talked about. It's the most expensive judicial contest in U.S. history, and both parties wrestled for control of the courts. The court's majority in a very key swing state. Make no mistake about it. We have to remember Wisconsin, a key swing state. And I give Crawford a lot of credit. Her and her allies worked very hard to turn the election in a referendum on Trump and Musk. And let's be honest, it worked. It worked. What I was even more surprised with is how much she won by. You have to look at that. And even in the losses that Democrats faced in Florida, and we knew that was going to happen, their lead shrunk in half. If you look at all those races and what took place in Florida, they lost half of their support. That is a big deal. And I'm not saying Democrats should be jumping on a trampoline and saying, oh, we're going to have a great midterms and we're taking over in 2028. No, you have to keep up the hard work. But I think there is buyer's remorse. I know that there's buyer's remorse. Look at all the votes that Republicans lost in Florida. That is a big deal. And Republicans know that. And Elon Musk made a high-profile gamble, and he lost. And this, I think it's very fair to say this raises questions about how effective his money is and his brand moving forward. I think that's very fair to say. And I do feel like Schimmel's loss is absolutely an embarrassment to Donald Trump, who has been campaigning. I wouldn't say campaigning for him, but he certainly endorsed him, and he's mentioned his name a number of times. And then you have guys like Scott Pressler who are out there. And if Elon Musk wasn't trying to buy votes, Scott Pressler, wearing his boots, was walking out there, getting people to sign up and vote. And I talked about Florida, and I will talk about it again. I think this is very, very important that Democrats had an overperformance in Florida. You cannot ignore this. This is a big deal. And yes, I understand that Republicans won both special elections in Florida. I get that, and I talked about that. But their parties, it shores their parties, certainly their narrow majority in the House. But Tuesday's result, I think, offers maybe some warning signs at a minimum for the Republican Party. Why do I say that? Well, in districts Trump won by at least 30 points less than 5 months ago, by the way, both Democrat contenders cut those margins by roughly half, as I mentioned earlier. In Florida's 6th district, won by fewer than 14 percentage points in Florida after being outraised 10-1 by his Democrat opponent, Josh Wheel, who happens to be a teacher. A year after, his public and contentious civil war with the Republican governor, Ron DeSantis, came to the end, Trump, made it clear who controls the GOP in his home state. That's certainly Donald Trump, and it's not Ron DeSantis. And I don't think Ron DeSantis will ever be the president of the United States. I've said that before. I'll say it again. I think he's like just as socially awkward as Elon Musk, maybe even worse. He doesn't resonate. I mean, maybe he resonates with MAGA Republicans or just Republicans in general in Florida, but I cannot tell you that I believe that Ron DeSantis will resonate with half the country. I just don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. This is a big deal. And I know there's some people that might disagree with me, but this is a really good sign for Democrats moving forward. And it is a positive. And yes, I do think that it is a referendum on Elon Musk. Yes, I don't think Elon Musk is going to last another 6 months. I really don't. I don't think, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I thought Elon Musk was going to be the first guy to be out within the Trump orbit. I think he would be the first one to walk away. I think eventually heads are going to collide. And, I think Elon's just going to roll back into his Teslas and drive away and maybe have another 15 kids. I don't know. But again, this is really important. I heard it from MAGA Republicans on and on and on, how Democrats spent $10 million in Florida to lose by 11 percentage points to Randy Fine. Republicans spent literally 5 times more than that on this race. 5 times more, over 53 million, much of that Elon Musk. And they lost the seat by at least 10 percentage points. So I don't hear Republicans talking about that. Stop talking about the Donald Trump mandate. Stop talking about what took place last time around. You guys lost. And Elon Musk was given the axe in Wisconsin. That's just the bottom line. So will they continue to take money from Elon Musk? I don't know. Will Elon Musk be pushed to the side? I don't know. This was a huge win for Crawford. She's a good woman. She's a good lady. And they need her in Wisconsin. And the country needs her, quite frankly. And make no mistake about it. If we had the Susan Crawfords type or more, the majority in our Supreme Court, women would have the right to choose. We wouldn't see attacks on the trans community. We wouldn't see attacks on the gay community. Everybody would be treated as equals. And women would have the right to choose. And we wouldn't have multiple states, or I should say half the states virtually in this country where abortion is illegal. That's right. And there are some states in this country where if a young teenage girl is the victim of incest or rape, she should have to go to another state to get a legal abortion. Geography should have no bearing over a woman's body. I keep saying that over and over again. But if you had more Susan Crawfords and less Brett Kavanaughs, women would have the right to choose and they would get their rights back. And Roe versus Wade would have never been overturned. But when you put these types of conservative Supreme Court justices in these powerful positions, this is what you get. Bigotry is endorsed. They don't trust women, and they don't trust women to do what they want to do with their own bodies. This is what we are up against. And that is why the Democrats have to have a strong 2026 midterms. And this is why I don't care who runs after Donald Trump leaves office. Yes, he'll be forced to leave. Yes, I understand he could run as VP. Yes, I understand he could be the House Speaker, but he ain't going to be the president. At least he won't get that label. You have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. And there are a lot of people with buyer's remorse, and I have no doubt. I personally believe that a lot of those people who voted for Susan Crawford might have been 10%, might have been 15%, I don't know. But maybe people that at one time or another supported Donald Trump, and maybe they're finally starting to get buyer's remorse. I truly believe that. I absolutely, truly believe that. So the bottom line here is that this is a big win for MAGA. It's a big loss. It's a big win for Democrats. It's a big loss for MAGA Republicans. I believe it's a sign of things to come. But the Democrats need to keep pushing. Now, if you're a MAGA Republican and you are complicit and you have the MAGA blinders on, then you won't see what's really happening in this country right now. You won't see that so many people that are struggling, that are living paycheck to paycheck, some of whom voted for Donald Trump, thought that their grocery prices would go down. They thought gas prices would go down. They didn't think that certain members of their family would be deported, maybe some with no due process. They didn't think that their 401k would go down the toilet. They thought that Donald Trump was going to do something for them besides pardon some January 6th insurrectionists, some of whom are violent criminals who beat police officers. They thought Donald Trump would actually be doing something for regular day Americans. But I keep telling them, and I keep telling you, the people that Donald Trump cares about are not people that look like you. They're people that look like rich white people, elitists that are hanging out at Mar-a-Lago. Those are the people that Donald Trump hangs out with. Those are the people that Donald Trump cares about. If he's not caring about himself, he's caring about other rich white elitists. That's Donald Trump, who he cares about. And I think some people, eventually, hopefully a lot of people, are going to find out that they voted for the wrong person, that they voted against their own self-interests. So if that's the kind of country you want to live in, where ICE is going into our religious sanctuaries, our synagogues, our churches, schools, and deporting a bunch of immigrants, so many of them that are nonviolent criminals, if this is the country you want to live with, where so many brave men and women who serve this country are losing their jobs for no reason other than Doge, if this is the country you want to live in, where Donald Trump's own ego gets in the way and these 25% tariffs and the American consumers are going to have to pay for it because of Donald Trump's ego, and you're losing your job. You're not making as much money. Your friends, maybe even members of your family, are being deported. And the price of eggs skyrocketed, grocery prices up, gas prices up. The war in Ukraine still going on. The Israel-Palestinian conflict stronger than ever. A Hamas ceasefire was broken. And if that doesn't raise your eyebrows and you can't say to yourself, geez, you know what? I made a mistake. I shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. Geez, you know what? I was wrong. I shouldn't have believed a word he says. If you're not saying that now, as we enter April, and you still think Donald Trump is doing a good job, and you think Americans are happy with what he is doing, then you are complicit and you are an imbecile. It's very simple. Make no mistake about it. That is the bottom line. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And the person we have joining us on the phone right now to talk about what I consider to be a referendum on Elon Musk, but we'll get to a local perspective on that. He's a really good reporter for CBS 58 News from Milwaukee, and he's joining us on the line right now. Adam Rife joining us. Adam, I do appreciate you being here on a very busy day for you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thanks for having us. Yeah, a lot of follow-up here after a very busy couple of months on this campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you agree in general? I know this is more of an opinion, but do you feel like the voters in Wisconsin made this, in a way, sort of a referendum on Elon Musk, or do you think there's maybe a lot more to it than that?
Well, it's certainly varied reasons for people getting involved. This was definitely a hot race before Elon Musk started pumping all the money into it, but we certainly heard from people on the campaign trail after he was adding more and more money. And, you know, we'll get the final totals in a couple of days when all the reports are finalized, but we believe it's higher than $25 million. Interest was very high before Elon got involved, but it certainly just skyrocketed afterwards.
Do you feel like, Adam, that some of these people, certainly who voted for Donald Trump, may have flipped a little bit and said, you know what, I'm going to vote for Susan Crawford? You're on the ground there. Have you talked to Trump supporters that maybe voted for Susan Crawford?
We have, and it's hard to find some that will say that publicly. One of the figures that the Republicans were talking about in the past couple of weeks was the turnout for Donald Trump in November. If they could get 60% of the votes, that was the target number, 60% of the turnout that Trump got in November, they felt like they would win this race. And they didn't come anywhere close to that. There were about 200,000 votes shy of where they were targeting. And so it was a turnout issue, but it was also the issues as well. We heard a lot of people, and it was hard to tell if they had voted for the president, but we heard from a lot of people who were talking about issues specific to Wisconsin. Yes, the president won in November largely on a national economic agenda, but here in Wisconsin, it's been several years now of local statewide races that have gone blue, whether it's the governor a couple of times, attorney general a couple of times, our state super in charge of the school system a couple of times now, and now 2 state Supreme Court races. We've also had a few agenda items that have gone to the blue side. And to be fair, there are a couple of statewide ballot issues that have gone red over the past couple of years, but the big ticket items, reproductive health questions, ballot issues, those have gone largely blue. And so the local issues, I think, are what drove this the most and got people most involved. The Elon money then drove it over the top, and it really helped the turnout for Democrats to be pointing to the largest donor, the richest man in the country, you know, the buzzwords that we heard over the campaign. They were running a strong campaign on the issues up until Elon got involved, but afterwards, it was an easy thing to point to. And the Republicans on the other side didn't have easy targets to point to in the opposite direction. Yes, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois offered $1.5 million to the Crawford side. Yes, George Soros offered $2 million to the Crawford side, but those figures paled in comparison to the easy target of Elon Musk on the Republican side.
So, Adam, it sounds to me like you're saying that when Elon Musk got into this thing and was putting all this money into Schimmel, it actually helped Democrats and it hurt Republicans. Is that fair to say?
I think it is fair to say. And what's interesting, Brian, is we heard similar tactics on the Republican side as well, where I heard several times The best thing for Republicans was Susan Crawford's record, they would tell me. And the best thing for Democrats, they would say, is Elon Musk's money. So it was oftentimes, yes, trying to promote your candidate, but they were also, both sides, targeting the other candidate, targeting the other record, targeting the other donors. It was as much a negative campaign about the other side's deficiencies as it was a positive campaign about their side's positives.
So for people nationally who don't know a lot about Susan Crawford, and I'll be honest with you, I was one of them until I read about her. Wonderful family woman, just a decent, good, kind person who obviously leans to the left, but cares about, social issues, women's rights, whether it be equality. I've done a little research on her. Can you just talk about her career a little bit, spanning over the years, and just her character and her family life?
Well, she certainly has promoted that all along the way. And both of these candidates have tried to humanize themselves as best they can, because once you get in the national sphere, that starts to take over. The narrative driven by either national pollsters or politicos, or some of the issues, they sometimes get swept. The candidates themselves get swept to the side and are overshadowed. But Susan Crawford has really worked for a couple of decades now, up through the state system and the court system, and has really promoted herself as one of those people representing communities, representing women's issues, as you mentioned, and really focused her campaign on the issues at stake. And that's something that we heard from not just her, but also the Democratic surrogates, is making this a campaign when talking about Susan Crawford, talking about her tangibles, about her record, about the issues she cares about, trying to shine the spotlight on some of those things that people may not know about. To your point, we did Marquette Law had a poll a couple of weeks ago that showed the favorables and unfavorables for each candidate. Well, the third option is, I don't know enough about this candidate. And Susan Crawford at that time, about a month ago, had well over 50% of respondents saying, I don't know enough about this candidate to have an opinion. And that's when they really kicked into gear the ads and on the ground efforts to show who this woman is and how she is, as you said, a family person, a mother, et cetera, and how that would translate to the bench.
Sure. Adam, last question for you, then I know you got to run, and we appreciate your time. Should Republicans be concerned, and could this be a sign of things to come, not just in Wisconsin, but the entire country?
And that's the story for today, Brian, in the next couple of days here in Milwaukee and across the country as well, is what does this signal? The last night, the talk of the room when I was with the Schimmel campaign was the frustration with the state GOP party, with the lack of aggressiveness. And it's hard to say in a race that raised well over $100 million on both sides, but very frustrated Republicans in Wisconsin criticizing the strategy of the state party, wanting to go in a different direction. I think we will see that play out over the next couple of weeks as we have our Republican convention here in the state for 2025. But also nationally, I think it's going to really focus a light on the difference between the national platform and the state platforms. We've seen in the wake of Roe v. Wade, of course, several issues come about in red states that went to the blue side in those elections when the electorate went to the polls. I think this really shines a spotlight on the difference between what people care about at a ground level in their communities, what's at stake when it comes to gerrymandering, when it comes to voting maps, when it comes to reproductive health, when it comes to a lot of those local community issues versus the big picture items we see every 4 years when it is a presidential election. I think we have obviously the day after, which is too early to tell, but I think a lot of states will be doing an audit of their strategies and seeing the difference between the off-year elections and the on-year presidential elections, and maybe having to change their tactics for the two.
Well, Adam, great stuff, man. Really appreciate your work over there at 58 News, CBS in Milwaukee. I appreciate your time on such a very busy day for you guys. But thank you so much, sir, for your time. We really appreciate you.
Thanks much, Brian. We're all drinking from a fire hose here. So back to work.
Fair enough. Back to work, Adam. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. That's Adam Rife, everybody, CBS 58 News in Milwaukee. Really good reporter. And he works with somebody that I used to work with back in the day. Really good at what he does. And, hey, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. But the bottom line here is whether you think we're overstating this or not, this is a good day for Democrats. It's certainly a good day for those that are anti-Donald Trump and anti-Elon Musk, certainly in the state of Wisconsin. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. So we are going to take phone calls when we come back. I want to thank Jackson's Bar and Grill, the official gaming bar of the PTL radio show, home of the $20 ribeye. Yes, that's right. They haven't changed the price in 8 years. It's awesome. And the quality is fantastic. You get a side with vegetables, and it's a great ribeye. You will love it. Tell them that I sent you. They got great gambling promotions there on the slot machines as well. Jackson's Bar and Grill, great food, great atmosphere, home of the $20 ribeye. Check it out. Here's what we are going to do. So we are in the YouTube super chat. So if anybody out there wants to go into that super chat, we'll read your questions and comments live on the air. Also at pushingthelimits.live, of course, where you can make donations. And we do sell merch on there, shirts, hats, beanies. I know a couple people hit me up and they're happy that they bought the "Don't Be a Right-Wing Buffoon" shirt on my website with yours truly mug right on it. So you can check that out as well. So here's what we are doing. We are going to take some phone calls on the other side as we do every day. This day might be a little bit different. You know, we come together as a family and we talk about Donald Trump a lot, and we're still going to do that. But here's my question to all of you. Do you think I'm making a bigger deal out of this than it should be? Now, I don't think I am. I think this is a huge deal, not just for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, not just for Susan Crawford, but I think this is a referendum on Elon Musk. I really do. I think this is a bigger issue, and this is a national issue now where I think maybe some people are trying, you know, maybe getting a little bit of buyer's remorse, you know, for lack of a better term. So we want to take your calls on that. The number to call is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Our phone lines are full right now, so I'm certainly looking forward to talking to you. That's why this is one of the most interactive shows you will find anywhere in the country, because we always give you a platform here, even if you're MAGA. So we'll take some calls when we come back. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can come true. Radio U. Radio U is a 5-day course that'll teach you how to acquire your dream show. We'll teach you how to host, how to write commercial, how to interview, how to market, how to write a contract, and most importantly, how to monetize your dream radio show. You'll learn from some of the best in the business with over 75 years in broadcast experience. You'll learn from people like me. And the best part, every single student will be live on the radio as part of the class. Plus, one student from each class will get their very own radio show. You'll be live on the air right here in Las Vegas. Radio U. The 5-day course is being offered at $699. For more information, give Radio U a call. 702-763-5024. That's 702-763-5024. Or check them out at RadioYOU101.com.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www.hockeyforkids.org.
Craving something sweet? Head to 777 Cookies and More. From warm, gooey chocolate chip cookies to unique seasonal treats. Whether it's a classic cookie, coffee, or catering needs, we've got you covered. Come in for a taste of heaven today at 777 Cookies and More. Your sweet escape. Located at Sahara in Decatur in Sahara Pavilion North. 777 Cookies and More, 4750 West Sahara in Decatur. Sweetness awaits at 777cookies.com.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Hey, a little programming note for you. Duke It Out debate tomorrow. So he's a right-wing podcaster. He's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Before I get to his name and what we're doing tomorrow, I did have a conversation with somebody last night, somebody who lives in Maryland, believe it or not, who is a very loyal listener of the show. And she said, I really enjoy when you do debates with, right-wing podcasters. I said, okay. And, the problem is sometimes they just don't want to debate me, right? But David Pollack is a good sport from the David Pollack Show, and he's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Oh, we're going to get into a good spirited debate because he thinks Donald Trump has done a good job over the course of the first 2 months of his administration. And obviously, I could not disagree with that more. Gas prices are up. Inflation's up. The war in Ukraine's not over, not even close to being over. Israel-Palestinian conflict, still going. So me and David are going to go at it tomorrow to start the show. So not the way Elon Musk and Donald Trump go at it. I think they spoon together, but that's another story for another day. Taking your phone calls at 702-221-7283. Again, that number to call, 702-221-7283. And listen, MAGA is always welcome on this show. I keep saying that all the time. You're always welcome to call in. All right, let's start off with Lou. Lou is calling out of New York. First up on PTL. Hey, Lou, what's going on, man?
It's always a pleasure taking my calls, buddy.
Sure.
I think the handwriting is on the wall with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Americans are waking up to the fact that they're just both anti-American. They cut the Department of Education. I couldn't believe they cut funding for cancer research. I beat cancer twice. They cut the funding for cancer research. They're siding with Russia on certain issues. It's just a matter of time. Voters are going to wake up to the fact that these two do not belong in the White House. Specifically, Musk, he's not even an elected official.
Well, that's obvious. Obviously, we agree on that. Lou, let me ask you another question. Do you agree with me that this is a referendum? And for all those idiots out there on the far right that said Trump winning was a mandate, which, by the way, it wasn't a mandate. It was one of the closest elections in American history. But I'm looking at Susan Crawford and how she won. This was not a close race, right? She won by double digits. So would you? Yeah, go ahead.
I totally agree with you. A referendum. Americans are starting to wake up to the fact Trump is destroying our democracy. And he has no respect for the Constitution.
Yeah.
No respect at all for the Constitution.
Well, he doesn't respect the rule of law. So if someone doesn't respect the rule of law, they're certainly not going to respect the Constitution. So I agree with you there.
No, yeah. I love your show. I love calling in your show. You have a great show.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate you saying that. All right, my friend. Thank you.
Keep up the. We need you. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you, Lou.
Buddy.
Well, I need you guys as well. So thank you. I appreciate you, my friend. You're the best. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. We have one phone line open. Let's go to Shelley. Shelley is calling out of West Virginia. Hello, Shelley.
Hey, Brian, I do not think you're making too big of a deal out of this win in Wisconsin for Miss Crawford. I felt that she was going to win because I'm a witch. No, I'm kidding. But I did feel that. I didn't even watch the results come in. I waited till this morning to see who won.
Yeah.
But there was another district in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear if you talked about that or not.
I talked a little bit about how Republicans have lost half of their lead.
Yes, they swang.
Yep.
But there was one that turned blue that hadn't turned blue in, I think, like 50 years or something.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say to that, Shelley. And by the way, it's always good to hear from you, and I appreciate the call. This is a referendum. It was a very good day for Democrats. It shows that maybe some of the hard work is starting to pay off. And I think it also shows maybe that people are getting sick of Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, doing what he is doing. Maybe people are getting a little bit upset, and maybe there's a little bit of buyer's remorse. Listen, we just had a reporter who's on the ground in Milwaukee, a very good reporter with high respect from many in the industry, Adam Rife, who openly admitted that he's talked to a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump that maybe they don't want to admit it, but they did vote for Susan Crawford. That's saying something. And it's one of two things or both. Either they're sick of Elon Musk and they want him out, they're sick of Donald Trump, or maybe a little bit of both. So I think it's a A good sign for Democrats as, listen, we're what, a year and a half away from the midterms? I mean, come on. So now's the time. And I will give Cory Booker credit as well. I know I'm not a big fan of the filibuster, but I thought what Cory Booker did was phenomenal. I thought his speech was phenomenal. He wasn't just trying to fill a buster. He was also speaking not just to Democrats, but to the American people. And I thought he did a wonderful job, and I give him a lot of credit for that. He was passionate. He was specific. And that is the type of fight that many people on the left want to see from a Democrat. And I thought Booker did a really good job, and I do give him a lot of credit for it. And, I know for me, I don't consider it that way as a filibuster, more of a man that was passionate and a man who spoke truth to power. And I appreciate that. I want to see more of that from him. 702-221-7283. Why don't we go to Canada, huh? Since we're getting, they're getting those 25% tariffs implemented. Let's go to Yvonne. She's calling from Canada. Hi, Yvonne.
Hey, Brian. I have a couple things to say.
Sure.
Susan Crawford, so excited to hear that she won that race. Also, I don't understand something about 47. When the tariffs go on and people start losing their jobs and things are more expensive, then people won't be able to pay for those expensive things because they'll be spending less.
Yeah.
That means your taxes that he's going to be able to receive from that is also going to be less. And also these people who are losing their jobs will be on government assistance programs of some sort. So why doesn't he understand the correlation between tariffs and income for the tax pool, whatever?
I think the answer to that is because he doesn't care. The same reason why Elon Musk doesn't care. The same reason why all of his billionaire friends around him don't care. You know, his cabinet is worth $60 billion, and that doesn't even include Elon Musk. $60 billion. So why would they care? All they care about is aligning their pockets, making sure that their investors are happy, making sure that their family is taken care of. They don't care about America. They certainly don't care about Canadians. They only care about themselves. So it's a little bit of both. Maybe they fail to understand, but maybe they just don't care and they don't want to understand.
Yeah, I've got one more thing to say to all the people who are listening.
Sure.
In our government, the taxes, the tariffs that they're going to be collecting on the goods that come in from you guys,
yeah,
they're going to use it to help the people who are affected by the tariffs.
Yeah.
That's what they're using that money for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Donald Trump isn't doing that for your people.
Of course not. Of course not. Very good point. Well taken. And I completely agree with you. Of course not. Thank you for the call, my dear. And I'm sorry for what you Canadians have to deal with our idiot in chief with the orange orangutan, adjudicated rapist, 34 count felon. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go back to New York and let's go to Courtney. Hi, Courtney. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind today? Courtney, are you there?
You're a regular listener. I just want to say what Cory Booker did brought tears to my eyes. This is what they need to do every single day. There should be a different congressperson filibustering about what the hell this crazy is every day.
Yeah, I agree. We need more fight. There were times where I was frustrated with Cory Booker, but I do agree with you. I think he did a phenomenal job. It was a great speech. I think he showed a lot of heart and a lot of passion. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did watch highlights of it on social media, and I thought he sounded great. And I read, it's funny. I heard these stories that he didn't eat for a couple days. Did you hear about that? He didn't want to go to the bathroom.
He said he didn't eat or drink, so he wouldn't have to go to the bathroom.
That's wild, isn't it? That is kind of wild. But I thought he did a really good job. It's been a good couple days for Democrats. They have to keep going. They can't be satisfied here.
What do you think happened in Florida, Brian? Because my only concern is I'm happy about Wisconsin, but what the hell happened in Florida? Was that another steal? I mean, why?
No, I don't. Listen, Florida usually almost always votes to the right. I mean, we know that. Here's what I do think happened. I think there are a lot of partisan idiots in Florida and a lot of people who will vote for somebody just because they have an R next to the name. Ron DeSantis is not a very well-liked guy personally by a lot of people, even MAGA Republicans. But, listen, the bottom line here is that it still wasn't a bad day for Democrats. Yes, they lost Florida in these races. However, Republicans lost half their lead. So when you look at what took place in the November elections and you look at what has transpired since then, they have lost a lot of support and they are panicking. I am telling you that they are panicking and they are trying to figure out what is going on. And that Elon Musk is probably going to go away very soon. The problem is that money talks and he has a lot of money. But I think Elon Musk is going to be pressured to step away. And I think Republicans are going to start panicking. There's so many Republicans out there that are not for these tariffs. They're very uncomfortable with it. And some of them have actually spoken out about it. But Donald Trump is not going to listen to them. He's only going to listen to himself. So I think Republicans are starting to panic a little bit. I really do feel that way.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate the phone call. 702-221-7283. Where are you MAGA Republicans out there with your little tiny orange fingers? What's your excuse now? Do you think the Democrats cheated? Do you think it was rigged? Is that what you think? Or was it a mandate? Was it a mandate? Is this a mandate? Or no, you would say it's not a mandate, but the closest election in American history, Donald Trump winning by 1.4% of the popular vote, hundreds of thousands of votes that took all the swing states. But that's a mandate. But what took place in Wisconsin, oh no, Schimmel just ran a bad campaign. You guys have absolutely no credibility. You're all a bunch of buffoons. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Terry from Maryland. Hey, Terry, what's going on?
Hey, Brian, good afternoon. Susan Crawford, congratulations. To the people of Wisconsin, well done. Thanks for showing up. One thing I want to mention that's kind of off topic here, but I was on the phone with my sister this morning who lives in France, and I just wanted to give you an example of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Marie Le Pen has been convicted of embezzlement and has a 5-year election ban, and her verdict kind of rocked the French right and sentenced to 4 years in prison. She is planning to appeal, but I just thought that was worth sharing with you, that there are places in the world where there is accountability.
No question about that. And I'm very proud of what took place in Wisconsin yesterday. Democrats can't stop. This is just the beginning, but it certainly is good news. And I think hopefully it could be things to come down the road and in the future. We need more of the speeches of Mr. Booker, and we need less of Chuck Schumer. That's what we need.
I totally agree. And I also agree, I believe it is a referendum. I do agree with you, Brian.
Yeah, I agree as well. Yep. It absolutely is a referendum. So when you listen to these MAGA morons like Scott Jennings and others on CNN, these MAGA talking head idiots that'll make these idiotic statements. Well, Brad Schimmel, he just didn't run a very good campaign. But yet the second Donald Trump went, oh, look at this, America has spoken. This is a mandate. Screw all you morons, you idiots with no credibility. Okay, this was a mandate. That's what this was. Yeah, we'll see what happens in 3 years. We'll see what happens in the midterms. We'll see what happens in the 2028 presidential election. We'll see. This is just the beginning, you MAGA idiots. This is just the beginning. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Florida, home of the very sexy Ron DeSantis with those white boots. Andrea, what's going on?
Oh, God, don't even mention him. I hate Ron DeSantis with a passion. But, yeah, I do think it's a referendum, but I think it's too early to really say how this is going to go. Great for Wisconsin, and I'm glad that there weren't as many votes for the Republican Party on the 2 special elections in Florida, but
yeah,
it's still, I just think it's way too early to see any type of big change yet.
Yeah, well, listen, I think that's also fair. I think maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. Like you said, it's a good day for Wisconsin. It's a good day for Democrats. They rejected Elon Musk and all of his money and his stupid million. Here you go. Here's $1 million buying votes. But at the same time, I also agree. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves. Got to keep the focus going. We need more fighters in Washington, D.C., and you got to the work is just starting. So I agree with you. You can't get too far ahead of ourselves and say, oh, Democrats are going to have a great midterms because of this. No, that's the wrong attitude. I think the correct attitude is this was a very good day. It's good to see that hard work is starting to pay off. You have to keep going.
We do. We have to have more Democrats speak up. And we don't have that many. And yeah, Schumer's got to go.
Yeah,
he's just got to go.
I've had it with him. I really don't want to hear from Nancy Pelosi anymore. I don't care what she has to say. Step aside. You're part of the reason why Donald Trump won. Joe Biden should have stepped down much sooner. We can go back and go back and play Monday morning quarterback. But the bottom line here is that you guys are part of the problem and why Donald Trump won. So when I say you guys, I'm talking about the Chuck Schumers. I'm talking about the Nancy Pelosi's. Get out of the way, get younger people in office. And I don't really, quite frankly, care. Jasmine Crockett is not perfect. Yes, she's made a couple mistakes in the last few weeks, but I will take her over Chuck Schumer any day of the week.
Right. I have to say this real quick, Brian. I think not only that's part of the reason why the Democrats lost the election. I think a big part of the reason was millions and millions of people that sat this one out.
Yeah. Well, you're
Not
right.
enough people voted that normally
You're right.
did.
And now we're suffering the consequences, right? Now we are suffering. We are now suffering the consequences. You are right. For the people that sat out and not voted in this election, I don't know what excuse you had. I made a very big mistake, and I did that in 2016, and I own it, and I said I will never make that same mistake again. I was wrong. I don't want to hear from people that say they didn't vote. I don't want to hear. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. All right, let's go to the next caller. Let's go to Jim. He's calling out of Wyoming, I believe. Hey, Jim, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, how's it going? I'm very happy about the court decision or the election last night, and that was a good sign that at least some people are awake and recognize the damage that Elon Musk has done. And I really, him more than Trump. I mean, Trump angers me quite a bit, but Elon is such a deceptive human being, in my opinion, where this whole crusade has been about, oh, I want to make things efficient. He goes on Fox News. He goes on all these different channels and is talking about, he tweets about, oh, this is all about efficiency. I want to make things better for the people. And he makes people believe that when you look back and step back, a lot of these federal departments that he's cut all coincidentally have ties to many of the investigations to his company. And he conveniently backs away after all of those departments have been gutted. And now all of a sudden we have to wonder why or believe like, oh, he's involved in this Wisconsin Supreme Court out of the goodness of his heart or for the sake of democracy. I don't know the details, but I guarantee you Wisconsin has something to do with the Doge investigation or some other one of his company investigations. I mean, I hope people can start to see that he's full of it and he's doing these things so that he can likely make more money. If you cut these places that are investigating him and costing him money, then he can just make more and,
Well, the idea when I talk to some of these people throughout the country that think Elon Musk is so great, I ask them a very simple question, which is, do you think Elon just woke up one day and said, you know what, I really care about America and I really care about all this government waste and I really want to help people? Do you really believe that one day he woke up and he did that? Because if you do, you're a moron. What he did was he put this scheme up for many months. He said, I'm going to put $400 million into the Donald Trump campaign because I know I'm the one who will profit from it. He's made so much money, billions and billions of dollars off of it. And so have his investors. And the bottom line here is that he only cares about himself. He cares more about being in front of the camera and using one of his children as a prop in the Oval Office. He's not a good father. He's not a good person. I don't want to hear people say, well, he has Asperger's. No, he's an ass. You know what? That's what he is. It's not Asperger's. He's an ass. You know what? He's a terrible guy. I don't care how many of his companies are in America. I could care less. I hope he fails.
I mean, yeah, there's just this, he just reeks of narcissism and not caring about like what he's done to society and what he's done to other people. I mean, there are so many federal workers that are just traumatized. They, especially during the beginning of this, I mean, I know people that are just like, I don't want to go into work. I'm sick because of the stress that Elon just when he had that weekend tweet about, oh, send me the 5 things that you've done, sending that on purpose to mentally make people stressed because that's supposed to be your day off. That's supposed to be your time to relax. and he purposefully just absolutely just messing with people.
I would email him back. And I'd say, can you name me one thing you've done good as a father? That's what I would do. I would say, name me one thing you've done good as a father. Then I'll name you some things I'm doing at my job, you freaking moron, you piece of human garbage. That's what I would say. Name me some things good you've done for your children. Huh? Why don't you name me some good things you've done for women besides just pay them to go away, you scumbag? That's what Elon Musk is. He's a scumbag. Him and Donald Trump are in the same cloth. And I pray to Jesus right now. I'm having a second. I'm praying to Jesus Christ right now. I pray, Jesus, that you deport Elon Musk and Donald Trump and put them in a cell in El Salvador and don't give them any due process. And I'll say because Donald Trump and Elon Musk have a tramp stamp tattoo on their lower back. I'll say that's the reason why we're sending them to El Salvador. I'm serious. I'm praying to you, God, right now. Please deport Elon Musk and Donald Trump and send them to El Salvador with some of those people that are alleged gang members who you think are so violent. That's what I'm praying for right now.
Yeah, even with that situation, that is just a culmination of the way they've handled everything, which is we make decisions and then we ask questions later. Even with that El Salvador thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there were quite a few folks that actually are not illegal immigrants that were citizens that they just rounded people up without thinking about it. Taking that chainsaw approach versus the scalpel approach. And that's how they've done everything. And it's caused trauma to so many people.
It has. You're right. You're absolutely right, my friend. And I'm with you 100%. We just got to keep calling it out every single day. So, I'm going to have a new nickname for this guy. I think it's going to be Ice Hole. I can say that on the radio. I think Elon is the ice hole in chief. And, listen, there have been times where I've called him that. And sometimes he responds. And Elon, do you have a problem with me calling you Ice Hole?
You basically, yeah.
Sharon. Okay, let's go to the next caller. I've had enough of Elon for one day. I've had enough. The Ice Hole in Chief. 702 Sharon. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Who are we going to do next year? Let's go to Kathy. She's calling out of Pennsylvania. What's up, Kathy?
Hey, what's up, Brian? I was so happy to see what happened last night, but I think this is a little bit bigger than Elon Musk. I think people are finally waking up and getting ticked off about the money in politics and how money is corrupting the political system. And you too, if you have 200 million, you can buy a presidency, or if you have 12 million or 20 million, you can buy an election in a state. So I think that people are really waking up to that. And I say that because with every Republican town hall that I've listened to and watched, that whole theme was going back and forth towards the people. So I think people are finally beginning to wake up to that. I hope it continues. The Democrats would have a wonderful opportunity if they stuck to that theme. This is what money in politics is doing to our political system and our democracy. If you want to stop, if you want to try to get money out of politics, we'll make a commitment to overturn the Citizens United ruling.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to say one thing. You mentioned that jackalope. I can't say the word, and I won't say the word on radio show, but I will say jackalope Scott Pressler.
Oh, he's an absolute. Yeah. Can I tell you my Scott Pressler story real quickly? So, I was doing a show years back with just a bunch of imbeciles. I'll leave it at that. And one of the imbeciles that I had to do a show with said, "Hey, we got to get that guy Scott Pressler on the show." Now, I knew who Scott Pressler was, and I knew he was a complete idiot. And he was a guy that started working within the Republican Party, and they fired him because he took sexual pictures in nature in the offices of that building, and then he was fired. Now, that's not a story that Republicans want to talk about. It's not a story that Scott, here's what I said to Scott Pressler when he did do my show years back. I said, Scott, and I was respectful to him. I said, Scott, pretend like I'm a voter that you want to vote, knock on my door, and try to convince me. He did not want to have a debate with me. He didn't want to have a civil conversation with me because he's not a very intelligent person. He's never had a real job in his life. He just goes around the country telling people to vote Republican. That's all. And talks about ballot harvesting. And then he had an event here in Las Vegas about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And I didn't show up to be disruptive. I didn't show up to cause a scene. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. And then if there was a Q&A, I wanted to ask maybe a question. He told the people running the event to kick me out before the event even started. And as I was walking out, I looked at him and I said, "You are an effing coward," which he is. And when you go around the country and you sign up people to vote, I think that's a great thing. When you go around the country and just tell people to vote for one side without any sort of critical thinking or conversation, then you're an imbecile. Scott Presler is an imbecile, and maybe people should be out there now and blaming Scott Presler because he spent a lot of time in Wisconsin. Didn't work, did it, Scott? But yet Scott Presler was the same idiot who went on social media and said Democrats spent $10 million in Florida to lose by 11%. Well, guess what? Republicans just spent $53 million for the Wisconsin Supreme Court case, and they just lost by 10%. But I don't hear Scott Presler talking about that because he's a little baby. That's what he is. He's a little baby. He's a useless turd. Scott Presler is a useless turd, and if he had any common sense at all, he'd know that so many within the party hate him because he's gay. So many in the Republican Party hate him because he's attracted to other men. I don't see anything wrong with that. That's not why I dislike Presler. I dislike Scott Presler because he's an a-hole. That's why.
If you only knew what he did in Pennsylvania, and I think if you read up on what he has done to the state of Pennsylvania, especially in areas like Lancaster County and Bucks County, you would be shocked. Well, you wouldn't be shocked.
Probably wouldn't be, but I would not be surprised, my dear. I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Yeah, Scott Presler is not one of my favorite people, that's for sure. Maybe he's got a picture of me in his bedroom. I guess that's possible. I don't know. Maybe for him it's a love-hate relationship. I don't know. 702-221-7283. Who do you think are the men that are in Scott Presler's bedroom right now? Who do you think? Like, who do you think he has a poster of me in his bedroom? I mean, probably not. Certainly Donald Trump. Maybe Matt Gaetz. Maybe Gavin Newsom. Those are my three. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Mark is also calling from Pennsylvania. Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Good afternoon, Brian. I have a YouTube thing I want to talk to you about, but first I want to say that I think the mandate is actually against Musk and not so much Trump. I think they're fed up with Musk, and Trump did post again that he's going to be getting rid of him shortly. But I want to talk about a YouTube video that I saw. It was an interview of a lady who voted for Trump, and she stated that she was all in on MAGA. She had everything. She had the posters, she had the hat, she had the shirt. She went to all the rallies, and she was working for the Treasury Department, and they fired her for incompetence. And during the interview, she stated that I lost my down payment to not down payment, but my hold on a house, $2,500. I lost my livelihood. We can't buy the house now. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have no job. I have to go on government assistance. My life is ruined. And then the interviewer asked her, well, if you had to vote again, would you vote for Trump? And you know what she said?
What?
I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, my gosh.
You're not exactly sure? Oh. Your whole life has just been ruined.
Idiot.
And
just
you
an
don't
idiot.
know?
An idiot. That's an idiot. What do you want me to say? She's an idiot. I mean, that's not somebody you can reach.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, she's an imbecile.
These
I mean,
are the people we're dealing with.
Yeah, you can't talk to people
Brian?
like that. You can't talk to people like that. By the way, thank you, Alexa Gibson, for the donation. Says, I feel we are turning the page. Well, I hope so, but hopefully there are less people like that, Mark, in society. Mark, I appreciate your phone call, and you're right. That is exactly who we are dealing with. I do want to start a poll, and I don't want Scott Presler to get excited when I say we're starting a poll. But we are, but we're starting. Who do you think are the top 3 posters that Scott Presler would have in his bedroom? I'm going to send this. I'm going to email this segment to Scott Presler. Who do you think are the top 3 people that are in Scott Presler's bedroom poster-wise? It could be men or women or both, okay? I don't know. Just going to throw that out there as I take phone calls. So think about that if you're going to call in. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Keith, who's calling again. We have another caller out of Florida. What's up, Keith?
Hey, Brian. Just to give you a little rundown on the special elections here, I'm in 14, so I didn't get to vote. which is kind of a light blue district. But Randy Fine, he's a gambling industry executive, and he seems to be pretty above board. But Jimmy Petronas down in 6, he was involved in a couple of pay to play schemes in his prior political career here in the Dumshine state. And those were both plus 30 Trump districts, and they only won by just barely 2 digits.
Yeah, that's a good sign
So
for
it
Democrats.
was a close race.
Yep.
I mean, it was not,
sure,
it
sure.
wasn't a blowout.
Sure. No, it wasn't a blowout at all. And as I've said before, Republicans have lost half of their supporters in the last several months in Florida, it appears, at least if you look at what took place yesterday, right?
Yeah. And, I want to throw in one more thing. My ex-wife, who lives about an hour away from me, she told me the other day that all her Canadian natives have moved out and put for sale signs up on their houses.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, listen, I am, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Maybe you could give me the word of what took place in Florida yesterday. I am happy, I guess is one way to put it. I know Democrats didn't win, but I am hopeful. Maybe that's the best word that I would use. I'm hopeful based on what I saw yesterday. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that would be, it gave me a little bit of hope. And, like I said, my district's kind of light blue. I mean, it tends more to the left than the right, but, yeah, it gives me some hope.
All right.
Maybe this isn't the Dumshine state.
Let's hope not. All right, let's have a little levity before I let you go. If you had to name the 3 posters that Scott Pressler has in his bedroom, who would those posters be of? What do you think, Keith?
Trump, Musk, and Farrah Fawcett.
That's a good one. Farrah Fawcett, boy, was she an unbelievably beautiful woman.
Yeah, he's got that one hanging there. It's what, 40 years old now?
Yeah, something like that. That's a good one. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you, my man.
All right, thank you.
Good to hear from you. Stay safe out there in Florida. And yes, we could all have some hope. Farrah Fawcett, I don't think that's Scott Pressler's type, but boy, what a beautiful woman. What a great career she's had. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Frank. I believe Frank is calling out of Wisconsin. What's up, Frank?
Brian, newsflash. You know who's on TV?
Say again?
Your buddy. You know who's on TV?
Who's on TV?
The orange orangutan.
Oh, is he on TV right now? He's holding a press conference? Yeah.
For his tariffs.
Oh, yeah, that's a brilliant idea.
He had a guy from Michigan in one of those fluorescent shirts.
Yep.
From the auto workers, and the guy said, "Yeah, we're 100% behind on Trump's tariffs."
So stupid. So stupid. These people are so dumb. They're so dumb. They talk about 25% tariffs. They don't even have a 25 IQ. They're so stupid.
Nope. And then I saw the symbol when he said he was back away. He lost.
Yeah.
One of his reporters right away said, "Senators."
Listen, man, you have to laugh at this point. The problem is that we are suffering because of it. The problem is that we are suffering because of it, my friend. And at some point, it's not good for your health, and you got to laugh at how stupid some of these people are. But at the same time, I don't know. Speaking of stupid, why haven't any MAGA supporters called into the show today? I think they're afraid. I don't know. They might say something stupid like Barack Obama. The only thing that's going for him is he's black. Yeah, we had a guy this week that called in and he said that. We have some other MAGA supporters that have called into the show that have also made some statements thinking that the 25% tariffs were a good thing. I mean, again, some of the dumbest people that America has to offer, folks. I mean, what do you want me to say? All right. I always like taking calls from all over the world. We've taken some calls from Canada. We took a call from the UK yesterday. Now let's go to London. Maria is listening to PTL from London, which I am honored to hear. Hi, Maria. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine. Thank you very much. I'm ringing because I have been watching your program since Trump came to power. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ring up because of this whole tariff issue. Well, I mean, there were so many problems with Trump. We would be here all night if I had to go through them all. Yeah. But I'm very worried about the tariffs and what the impact they're going to have on the worldwide economy, and particularly Ireland. Even though I live in London, I'm Irish, And the tariffs are going to absolutely decimate the Irish economy because we export so much to the United States. And Ireland has been a poor country for such a long, long time, and it's only been in the last 20 years we've come to the fore in trade and economics. And it's I don't know. Nobody outside of the U.S. voted for Trump, and we have to endure
Can
all
I ask
the
you,
issues and the problems he's raised.
since you're Irish, what do you think of a guy like a Conor McGregor invited to the White House?
Oh, Conor McGregor is a disgrace. I mean, that man has attacked women. He is a pugilist. We could be going on about him all the time. I think most Irish people are absolutely despise Conor McGregor, and we are so ashamed of him. And for him to be at the White House representing Ireland on St. Patrick's Day was unbelievable to listen to. I mean, there's so many Irish people that Trump could have picked. Trump has a golf course in Ireland, which I am also ashamed of because it's very near where I come from and where my grandparents live. It's just across the road from where they lived and grew up. And I'm very ashamed of that as well. Yeah. Everything to do with Trump is a disgrace.
What do people in London, what is your sense, your feel of your friends and people you talk to in London on what they think about Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know anybody who likes him. I've never met anybody who actually likes him. I beg your pardon, I met one person that did, but out of all the people I know, people I work with, my friends, everybody, we just don't understand why he goes around attacking the rest of the world, why he's so angry and saying all these lies about the rest of the world. He keeps talking about how America is going to be a winning economy, how you're going to get all the money back with these tariffs and you're going to return business to the United States. Well, it may return some business, but how is America going to make money if it has pissed off the rest of the world? Nobody would want to buy America, and especially if America has destroyed so many economies.
Yeah, I think you're right, my dear. And we're all with you. And obviously, people in this country, the imbeciles that voted for Donald Trump, many of them are imbeciles, maybe not all of them, but many of them. I'm sensing from you that I sense from a lot of other people from all sorts of parts of the world that call into this show, whether it be people who listen to the show from Canada, you're calling from London, you're Irish. You know, we have people call from the UK. We have people call from Mexico, people from all over the world. I'm very humbled that call into the show that echo a lot of the things, my dear, that you just said. You are absolutely right. And, there are times where I listen to Donald Trump talk. I listen to some of the things he says. I listen to some of his cult followers, and I'm embarrassed at times to be an American. And then people on the other side will say, well, why don't you move? Why don't you move to another country? I'm embarrassed because of people like you. I'm embarrassed because of people who support Donald Trump. I'm embarrassed for the people out there who put Donald Trump on a pedestal. I'm embarrassed that there are people out there that are saying, well, I like some of his policies, so I have no problem voting for an adjudicated rapist and a 34-count felon. I am embarrassed. And the fight has already started. It started yesterday with some dividends for Democrats in Wisconsin. We are seeing things turn a little bit in Florida, and we have to keep fighting. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Go to Kava. Kava is calling up next. Hi, Kava. Thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hi, Brian. How are you doing today?
Hey, good.
So I've been listening to everything you guys have been talking about, and when I saw the turn of events for the Wisconsin spot, the first thing I thought of was, you know what? Is this finally going to be the time where MAGA finally is going to start taking losses? Because at this point, we need everything we can get. If we can take a spot from them, we need to keep going.
Yeah.
Because this fight, like you said, is long from over, and we cannot let up at all. We have to keep going, guys, no matter how hard it gets right now, because right now we have to shut MAGA down as much as we can. Because if we don't, Donald Trump and Elon are just going to keep lying their mouths off. They're going to keep, doing dumb stuff. They think it's funny. It's not cute. None of this is a game. And personally, for myself, I am concerned because we've taken some losses in Florida, and it's a very scary situation but we can't give up hope, and we have to keep fighting, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and as MAGA Republican morons would like to say, "Oh, you're crying liberal. These are liberal tears." No, it's calling out the obvious. What they think, for example, what they would consider crying, or what I would consider, or what they would say wokeness, I would consider being awake, understanding what our surroundings are, and being able to separate fact from fiction. If that's what woke is, then people can go ahead and call me woke, and I'll call them bigots. I don't care. But
Right.
they're ill-informed, they're uneducated, and they're blind to facts.
Right. And because I'm not from the U.S. myself, I think it's hilarious how they come after us. When yet they're the ones who stormed the Capitol. They're the ones who chanted "Hang Mike Pence." They're the ones who would go up to any person of color and use the N-word, as what happened on your show the last time. Come on. Maggie, you're the problem.
That's who some of these people are. Let's be very honest here. That is Donald Trump's base. Donald Trump's base of supporters are bigots. They're people that attack the transgender community. They attack the gay community. They're obsessed over banning books and transgenders and who's going into restrooms. But they don't seem to talk about Donald Trump's health care plan. I ask any of you MAGA idiots out there right now, can you guys please tell me what Donald Trump's health care plan is? Can you guys please tell me what the replacement plan to Obamacare is? That's a top 3 issue. But you guys can keep talking about drag queens, and you guys can keep talking about banning books. I'm serious. Can somebody please tell me, what is Donald Trump's health care plan? I'd like to know. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Julie. Julie is calling out of Tennessee. Hey, Julie, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. I'm letting my fellow Social Security drawers know that the checks still come out. And also, thank God for Susan in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I am so freaking happy. She actually has the same name as my mother. So hearing
cool.
that somebody same name as mom wins, and they're for the Democrats, and they're trying to help regular Americans, I'm pretty damn happy about that.
I am happy about that also. And I'll be honest with you, I did not know a lot about her until yesterday. I knew a little bit about her because I knew that race was a very important one, but I read more about her yesterday. And from what I can tell, she is an extremely intelligent, well-spoken, a woman of decency and character. And I'm really happy for her and her family. And I think she's going to be great on the Supreme Court out there. I really do.
Yeah, she will be. Hope to God she helps get rid of Trump, because I'm already sick of him.
Yeah,
I'm always worrying towards the end of the month. Am I getting my check?
Well, you're not the only one.
Am I going to be able to eat? Am I going to be able to, go to the doctor like I usually do?
So I don't know if this report is true or not, because I have absolutely no idea where it's coming from. But we have learning reports from some right-wing media members on social media. And again, I cannot confirm this, but we have heard that Elon Musk will reportedly be stepping down in the coming weeks from the role from government. We are learning this from right-wing entities that usually probably wouldn't report on something like this unless there was some truthfulness to it. He will be stepping down from the Department of Government and DOJ. Now, I called this and I said that he probably wouldn't last 6 months. But it appears as though it might be less than that. So I actually believe that this loss in Wisconsin probably was the breaking point. I think that this was going to happen anyway, but the breaking news in that it appears as though, and I can't confirm this, but based on reports out there, that it looks as though Elon Musk will be stepping down from DOJ here in the next couple of weeks. That does not surprise me. I believe this Wisconsin Supreme Court race was probably the nail in the coffin for Elon Musk, and it was very short-lived. But I wonder, as he leaves, he'll report on all the fraud that he found. I wonder, as he leaves, if he will be reporting on all that and give us some names or maybe some people that are going to be convicted or charged with a crime. I guarantee you that doesn't happen. I will also tell you that Politico, and I think Politico is a very, very good and accurate source for information. Politico has now officially reported on this as well, that Trump has told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet, that Elon Musk will soon be stepping back and stepping down from his current role as governing partner. Well, that didn't really last very long, did it? When somebody like Politico is reporting this, I tend it to be more true than some moron like Laura Loomer. So it appears as though Elon's going to be leaving, and he never sent us any checks. Ed Krasentine from the Krasentine brothers, who has done this show plenty, is also reporting the breaking news that Elon Musk is going to be stepping down. Boy, that did not last very long. But I'm sure Elon Musk will go back to, being a father, right? I'm sure he'll go back to the important things in his life. No, he'll still be out there making appearances and stuff. It did not work very well for Elon Musk, other than the fact that, yes, for himself it worked out. He made a lot of money. And what we know right now is that the Tesla stock is soaring. Learning that Elon Musk is going to be stepping down. That actually makes some sense. But that's the breaking news that we are hearing. We'll also get your reaction to that. Politico and other outlets that I do have respect for are reporting that Elon Musk is going to be stepping down, that Donald Trump has already told his inner circle that Musk will be stepping down from his position in the next few weeks. Elon Musk cares more about his stocks. He cares more about Tesla than he does. And let me tell you something. All of you that were peaceful protesters protesting Tesla, you did your job, because without you, maybe he doesn't step down. So I commend you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Kowalski. Kowalski is calling out of California, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Hi, Kowalski.
How you doing today, Brian?
Hey, good.
All right. So I'd like to actually make kind of like a quick appeal with a little bit of analogy to MAGA. Right? A lot of them, I think, really want to turn around. But, here's where it began. They saw this thing in the cup, and they were like, that's got to be the most fudgy, delicious chocolate milkshake we've ever seen. That's what we want. We want that. We like that. See, it's even got nuts in it. And all of us were like, that's not a milkshake. Right? They're like, no, we want it. We want it now. Get out of our way. We will fight you for it. We will hurt you. We will burn everything down for this. We want this milkshake. And we're like, that's not a milkshake. Okay? And now that they've got this, they're sucking on this thing, and they're realizing that it is a poop shake. It's a poop shake. Right? And they keep sipping on it and getting more full of crap. And it's not making them feel better, and it's not making them, it's not giving them the experience they really want out of this, and they feel like they've been fooled. But we told them it was tomfoolery in the first place. So what I'm saying to MAGA, hear me out. Put down the poop shake. Put it down. Put the poop shake down. Put it down. Stop putting it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Well, if you really want to talk about stop putting things in your mouth, then that would be most of the men in the Republican Party that still, defend Donald Trump. They
have a Grindr account, yes.
Yes, exactly. And listen, I don't care what your sexuality is, but I say it all the time.
I don't either, but at least be clear about it.
Yeah, well, most of the people in the Republican Party wear the Donald Trump knee pads, so I think we know where I'm going with that one. So
they still need to I'm telling MAGA, you can do it. You can just put down the poop shake. Stop that.
I'm with you.
We know it's poop. You know it's poop. Just put it down.
Put it down. I'm with you, my friend. Kowalski, you're the best. I appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Good to hear from you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. Should we go to Amelia? Let's go to line 3. Let's go to Amelia. Oh, she hung up. Okay. Well, that's not good. Let's go to Pat then. Maybe Pat will be a better caller. Pat is calling from Maryland. Hi, Pat. What's going on?
Hey, Brian, regular listener.
Thank
Love
you.
your show.
Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you. What's on your mind today?
This gives me some hope, but I don't want to be fooled.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the things happening yesterday, I'm happy about it, but this stepping down of Elon, I don't believe one bit of it. I don't believe it. He will be on Signal or Gmail or something. They'll be talking every day.
Listen, I don't deny. I agree with what you're saying. Just because he's officially stepping down from the position doesn't mean he's not going to have say. I'm sure him and Trump are going to be talking on a regular basis. He's still going to be involved.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. He's still going to be involved. It'll just be nice not to see him in the Oval Office with his son, using him as a prop. That'll be nice to see that. It'll be nice to not see Donald Trump trying to sell his cars like a used snake oil salesman in front of the White House. So that will be nice.
And the thing is, Brian, he's got all that information, so he can do what he wants from home.
That's true.
He's got all of our information.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I think Elon sadly got what he wanted. And that's
got what he wants.
And that's what makes this situation sad. At the same time,
exactly.
I agree with your point that Musk isn't. He might be officially stepping down, but that doesn't mean necessarily that he's not going to be talking to Donald Trump on a regular basis.
Exactly.
He's
He
still
still
going to
want to be running things. He still want to be running things.
I don't disagree with you there, but I still think
Yeah.
it's good for the country that we're not going to have to see this idiot mumbling and bumbling in front of the cameras all the time because I'm getting sick
I
of him.
can't stand to hear. I can't stand to hear him, to look at him, or Trump. I can't stand either one of them.
Agree.
I can't stand to hear them.
Pat, I'm with you.
They make me want to break my TV up.
No, don't do that. Don't break your TV.
I won't do that.
Don't do that. He's not worth it. But at the same time, I can
No.
tell you, just keep in mind that the people that hate Donald Trump more than me and more than you is Melania. Just remember that, okay?
And I love what Booker did yesterday.
I do as well. I do as well, my dear. Hey,
Yeah.
it's good to hear from you, and I appreciate your call, my dear. Thank you so much. Number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. All right, let's go to Dave, and I believe Dave is calling out of Ohio. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Brian, how you doing, man?
Hey, good.
I know we're winding down, but a couple of quick things. First, your April Fool's joke was awesome yesterday. I know that's a little off topic.
Thank you.
But you would have definitely sold it if you had a wide camera view of a bag of Cheetos and your intro music was Kid Rock. That would have sold me.
Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, diggy's in the book. It said up, drop the boogie. Ball with the ball, the bang. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's such a catchy song. He's such a brilliant musician. Put him in the Hall of Fame of bigots. He's such a brilliant musician. That trashy guy. What a brilliant. That's like saying Lauren Boebert's brilliant. You know, she's a brilliant restaurant owner. I'm sorry. Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, diggy. Okay, I'll stop now. Go ahead.
I was thinking living life in a hotel or whatever. I forgot how that song goes with Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
But anyways, to bring up something, I'm excited about what happened, but there is one thing we're not talking about. Yes, we won Wisconsin. Yes, we lost 2 in Florida. What about Lancaster? Lancaster was red for how many years? We went blue. I do believe this is the awakening.
I hope so. Listen, I hope so. As I said, I'm hopeful, and I am happy that a good woman is going to be on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I'm happy that it seems like some of the hard work has paid off. I'm happy that the good people in Wisconsin have, I believe, put in a referendum for Elon Musk. So those are all very positives. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think it's very fair to say that this was a very good 24 to 48 hours for Democrats. And what Booker did yesterday, I thought was great as well.
Oh, and one last quick thing. Here's the picture or the poster on the bedroom wall, and I know you're going to love it. It's going to be Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Putin, all sitting on a lazy boy couch. That's his dream picture.
Boy, isn't that sexy? Boy, that really gets women really excited, doesn't it? And men. I'm sure that Scott Pressler gets very excited at that. And, you know, he needs to stay home for a few hours and take care of business before he gets back out there to try to ruin it for MAGA Republicans. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate that. Somebody in the chat said, Bob with the bob, the bang, diggy, diggy. Yeah, Bobby. I mean, really, honestly, you know who Kid Rock looks like every single day? Remember the movie Con Air? Who's the guy that starred in Con Air? What's his name? Nick Cage. Thank you, Numchuck. That's why I need Numchuck here. Nick Cage. So Nick Cage has been looking like, I saw Nick Cage at a gas station in Las Vegas a few months ago. He looked like the Crypt Keeper. By the way, I love Nick Cage. I love his movies. I think he's great. But couldn't you picture him, the liking to a Nick Cage? I mean, I would. I think he's looking like that day in and day out. Kid Rock, I could picture Kid Rock saying, "Give me my bunny." That's a Con Air reference, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't watched the movie, you got to watch it. "Give me my bunny, ball with the ball, the bang, the bang." And then Elon Musk comes in. I mean, really, it'd be like a Saturday Night Live sketch. Sharon. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. And again, that number, if you want to join the show, is 702-221-7283. Listen, this is a really good day for Democrats. If you woke up this morning, you saw the good news that the Wisconsin Supreme Court will not have another MAGA moron that wants to tell women what to do with their bodies. And today is a good day because it is a loss for MAGA Republicans. And any loss for MAGA Republicans is a good day as far as I'm concerned. But we can't get complicit. We need to still keep our eye on the prize. The prize would be Lauren Boebert at Beetlejuice. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the prize. To some men, that might be a prize. That wouldn't be really a prize to me. I like intellectual women. Number one on my list is not Lauren Boebert or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Nancy Mace. It is very interesting, by the way, because Nancy Mace's people reached out to me again last week, and they said, hey, Nancy, well, come on, give us a day and time. And then they don't get back to me again. So I guess they're playing games with me. Maybe they're too busy checking what's in somebody's pants in the women's restroom. I don't know. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. But this could be Tesla stock manipulation. Marsha on the YouTube chat did say that. It could be Tesla stock manipulation. You never know. Or it could be one of those things where Elon Musk takes a couple steps back, but he's kind of still run the show, but he's going to do it quietly, not in front of the cameras with staged prop children. That could also be a part of it. I don't know. But Republicans can't sit here and say that this was good for them. Republicans can't sit here and say that Elon Musk helped them in this situation, because he didn't. Now, we know that Elon Musk is not going to do what he should do. What he should do is step aside and be a family man and take care of his kids. That's what he should do. That's what he should do. By the way, this is what Donald Trump had to say just moments ago. He was holding a press conference, and the orange orangutan, this is him trying to explain the tariffs. Have a listen to this comedy show.
Of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China and charged them. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe. But they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understood it.
We're going to have to go into a little tough love, is what Donald Trump just said. Can you imagine if Joe Biden made a statement like that? Because they blame Joe Biden constantly. Constantly, they blame Joe Biden for inflation. Can you imagine if Joe Biden said, we're just going to have to go through a little bit of tough love? Here's more from the orange orangutan.
For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike.
Well, I agree. You're one of those people. You're an adjudicated rapist. So for decades, yes, there have been some adjudicated rapists out there. Oh, yeah, by the way, Donnie, you're one of them. You're the liable sexual abuser. You're the guy who has 25 women who have come forward who have said you raped or abused them, including your ex-wife in court documents. So you don't really need to lecture us on, for years, this country has been raped because, well, you've been doing it yourself, sir. The guy's trying to preach to us about tariffs. I mean, it's just insane. Here's another cut from the orange orangutan. It gets worse, ladies and gentlemen.
It happened, and they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Yeah, that's a great take. Yeah. What it really means is that American consumers are going to have to pay more for cars, you freaking dolts, you stupid imbeciles, you idiots, you. Let's go to Pauline. Pauline is calling in. Hey, what's up, Pauline? Pauline? Pauline, are you there?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Hi, Brian.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Hey, how are you today?
Good. What's on your mind?
Better with the election, eh? I want to point something out about Donald Trump's lie on the tariffs, especially on the dairy issue.
Sure.
Canada has limits on what can be imported in the industries, and no American company has ever paid that tariff. It's only if they exceed their limit. So he's fully lying about that, and those people just believe it.
What a shocker that he's lying, huh, my dear? What a shocker that I'm up against the clock, my dear, but I appreciate your call. What a shocker that Donald Trump is lying. Folks, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. The guy uses the term rape. He uses the word rape in his comments today. We're being raped. Meanwhile, this is the adjudicated rapist, ladies and gentlemen, the guy that some of you voted for. It's sick. All right, so to start the show tomorrow, we are going to get right into it. Sometimes I like to start with some lighthearted stuff, but tomorrow we are going to be getting right into it. And we're going to be getting right into it because my friend, he's a right-wing talk show host, David Pollock's going to be joining us, and we are going to be getting into a very heated debate, as we always do. So a lot to get to. The fallout for Republicans for what took place, of course, in Wisconsin. Donald Trump holding a press conference today talking about tariffs, which is embarrassing. When he talks about these tariffs, he never talks about how the American consumers are going to be suffering, or if he does talk about it, he uses the term, quote, tough love. All right, everybody. So this is an independently owned radio show. What does that mean? It means that we work really hard every day and we rely on good people like you. I ask that you please go to my website, pushingthelimits.live, where you can make donations, monthly donations on there. It doesn't matter what it is, $5, $10, $20 a month, with a minimum of a $25 donation, either on the YouTube Super Chat or on my website. You are going to be entered in automatically in the contest in April for the opportunity to win a segment you'll be doing with me live on PTL with a minimum of a $25 donation. So we appreciate your support on the website. We also sell shirts, hats, beanies, you name it. We sell it on there. Again, that's pushingthelimits.live. We also ask you to please sign up for my YouTube if you haven't already. We are pushing close to 100,000 subscribers. It feels like we just passed 50,000 subscribers like a few months ago, because we did. We're getting close to 100,000 subscribers now, and PTL Nation just keeps growing thanks to people like you, word of mouth, and we're going to continue to work hard to give you the best and the most pertinent information every single day. Thank you, guys. Love you guys in PTL Nation. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show or a podcast, but just didn't think it was possible? Well, dreams can